Well, I'm gonna throw a couple of the MTF cargo ship, man. You know, you get used to these guide drills doing the overhead safety brief. This set for a Hun, so if you got a salty wave function hanging down, wave tank hanging down there, you route it accordingly, son. Uh, in here, okay, let's say you are using my research and some of the numbers don't quite add up. You got just an infinite well of 50 of these bad puppies a day on any of my pages where that goes. And eventually you'll get through it where 001 is going to complicate stuff about the sheath of paper issue. Very, very practical kill agency about I need you as the foundation, as a director, or one of those doctors, or anything in the blind, crippled, and crazy, good to go, or just blind and crazy, or any combination of that triple body problem, to be able to map out a universal timeline inside of those systems about being Abel or Cain or Joan or Mary, with Demeter down there. It's going to be an issue. Sorry about my ums and brokens. That's why they're probably looking for. You don't see it in the videos. You imagine me watching them too, giving myself a third degree burn doing these, just like I'm watching these, because that's essentially what it is. And so I have problems sometimes with a timeline, right? Is it really the 19.6 million years ago? I don't know. I'm not even sure that that's 3 billion years, 3.6 billion years ago. The universe is 13.6 fuzziness, because I'm sure it's give or take, and what happened to protium, and because smaller quarks and how they would add up and together to what's left in the three mean involved in that thing, the distribution stuff, intensity or position and height and distribution across the board. And you try to give people stuff, so be like, hey, you want to watch, then you look, you give them what they give you, and you wait until you get those reviews. Don't be kind of crazy slipping around in the garden, you get buried in that garden. And it would probably be because of this. I mean, like, QMP are real close to actions, they're real close to Wendigos and SCPs floating around out there, Fireflowers, Pengloss. I mean, there'd be easy jumps to make here. Here I'm saying it, so as a proxy to somebody who's about to walk out there with the Book of a Nook and cause some kind of problem about what usually happens. You know, you can imagine me dragging 7,000 of you out here with me at the end of it because they were just so fanatical. And then coming back into Egypt or whatever. Well, it may not have left town, really, right? But your normal work boxes or what you were looking for inside of there, next thing you know, you get this Robin Loxley down there or whatever's going down to help you analyze Bob and Alice in the case. And they're all individual boxes on that timeline, which is a cargo ship deal at Nicolas Cage's next on Dalport down here, of the dual mandate. Not only is it the residential and the commercial businesses, but it's also how you arborize and notate that in our own local area, is much like saying that we got it worked out. As soon as I peel off one of my main arcanes to go to another place and do things, that's what this does. And I'm a Mason of one. There's only one name in my book, and that's my name, and it doesn't even have my name in it as far as the treasure chest is concerned. A lot of people like to put it in there, say that that's what it was, or that's what Azazel would have been doing, or when I was formed into an Azazel card, or a Salty with a sombrero card, or a 682 card. You know, I'm looking for Python down there. I'm looking for why, when it comes to a little girl in the board factory, some 18-year-old that just turned 18 and started forklifting like that, you don't have the right to treat them like an 056 or the SCP 056 against 053. There's a little girl and the pretty girl. You know, they're a lot older, they carry different weights and masses, and at certain points in times, the little girl is going to have more power than this girl over here. Kids supplies before that adult that can handle themselves and do things, before we get into Betty and the Reaper over there at Well and Testament. Trying to keep those ideals, because it'll be a lot of whether the interrogation and read technique, working it out on the clay tablets, who is what it was or what it is, or the depictions of how that correlated the Canaanites down there with Noah, and how it all kind of just erodes the foundation. Now, it's a regular rain, doesn't need to be a flood, but yeah, seriously, you got to be careful, you know. Then a bunch of Holy Evangelist, Book of Eli. I'm not saying it's wrong and that town may not have needed it, but, you know, here it is. Why is a standpoint for me? And none of the I haven't met the preacher. I'll give you that. But in those ideals, what are we really doing to say somebody can weight me for my DMV score right now? I'm an American citizen. Who I register to vote for shouldn't matter for my job. That's, the ID of who that is. It's their address. They signal a fidelity signal as it. That's what they're bounded to, So whether they have a ring or not on it, there's a circle of life that they run every day. And eventually, over particle slit experiments, you're going to begin to see that in theoretical virtual particles. Some are very quirky. Some have anti-up principles, right? It's still going down the pipe, but he's mad as shit, right? It's something about he's going to finish the job. That's what's up. But, that was extra vibration in that as a particle for what it does. Or you're just regular knocking the dust off of it. 3-mean, I was on it, I come off of it. I'm not having the best formation. If I had a very specific angle of the slope, the floating point on that, if I do that every day, I'll be able to do this for a couple of minutes without dropping it or having subtle errors. Only I would really notice by busting up a finger, but you might not notice it while it's all spinning unless you're very good about, knowing how to daisy pattern like that. Then you'll know I'm slow and broken, especially on the farther base of the patterns. But they are different patterns. And so as you're going through all this, you're arguing, here's the arc at, 6 years ago with a Rubik's Cube for a job interview where he's telling you, let's start at the beginning, look at the tasks, and then I'll take you back some farther points at old jobs because I burnt out all that material. That's the first mean of what I'm doing today. Then you go back and then you go, what do you want to do with it? And, what are the STEM games or any fringe benefits that are within any of those timelines to bring it down here to 3 and 4 or SU 1 or 2. But you got to be really careful and try to stay on a pain train for that. 5 minutes in here picking locks, realistically. It's the Bible. The block picker's Bible, though, because why would I need... Ezekiel's not bad for what it is, or Levitican. Certainly going to come up. John 10. But, yeah. There's the board. If that is Luke or John or, what is it, Amadeus or Armageddus, the serpent barrel, that's probably what they did a lot of days. And then you could say they dot plotted stuff. And then when the dragon, old Marshmallow, the Eye of Terror over there, that says it's going to come up and down accordingly. You can't fight the tide as far as a force on what it is. It might do its valley thing, but stay with it, guys.